Are you ready to hash out life's questions?
Maybe you want to hear from some amazing guests.
Or you need to get caught up on the week's top LGBTQ stories.
And you can't wait to find out who the whack job of the week is.
Well, sit back and get ready to be informed,
entertained, and maybe even a little enraged
as we cover the news of the week
and invite some of our friends to join us as guests.
I'm Paul Katami.
And I'm Jeff Cirillo.
And we are the Husbands. Hello. Wow. It's like a Trump rally this morning. Everyone showed up. Everyone's cheering. They all have their masks off. This is amazing.
And there's one African American.
Yeah. Well, she's paid to be here. So,
okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
That's right. They make sure, they get it all right. Hi, I'm Paul Katami.
And I'm Jeff Cirillo.
And we are the Husbands. Welcome to Sunday, August 23rd, 2020. Another week has gone by. Although I know you're very happy this week.
Yes, I am. First of all, thank you, everybody, for listening and for subscribing. And again, wherever you subscribe, if you could give us a review, we would really appreciate it. You can also download The Gist by Paul Katami, his podcast that he does every week or so. And he's got a new episode that came up last Monday, right?
I've been consistent the last couple of weeks. There's been 3 new episodes, and I will be recording episode 25 tonight, and it's the Just GYST, which stands for, are you ready for the censor button? Get your shit together.
There you go.
And it's a short little burst episodes, what I'm calling burst episodes, where I learn a lesson from the week, and my goal in life is to always kind of start each day as a better person than I was the day before.
What a terrible goal.
It's awful. I know. Some of the things
so
are just
better being negative and hating people.
My next episode is just give up. That's the last episode. Season 1 ends with just give up. No, I'm just kidding. It's all about inspiration. Jeffrey will absolutely attest to this, that in my life, I try to learn lessons on a daily basis. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I have lots of friends who are emotional, creative people. And what I love about it most is that we learn from each other. And I take those and kind of distill them into little life lessons that I use for myself. And yeah. Anyways, that's that. And by the way, before we go any further into the show, if you're tuning in now, you better call your friends, your family, get your pets gathered around if you're watching on Facebook or UBN Go or wherever you're listening, because we have a fantastic guest.
If you're watching on Facebook Live, the hint is over my shoulder. You can see.
Well, now it looks like there you go.
We go. Who is that on my shoulder?
We have the Phantasmic.
Phantasmic?
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't that like a Disney show?
Well, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, the fantastic and amazing and realistic. I was trying to put all the words together. I know, I'm just making shit up now. But Alec Mapa's on the show. And he is, oh, look.
Let's bring him on.
Oh, wow. Realistic? That's my adjective now. That's like, after 6 months with no Botox, I'm finally realistic.
You're finally real. What I meant was I was trying to put Phantasmic together, and I did fantastic, amazing,
Listen,
and realistic.
He'll take it. He'll take what he can get.
You're pretty and you're a gym instructor, so just you leave the talking to everybody else.
Listen. Do not try to devalue my life. Is that I'm no longer a gym instructor, Alec.
Yes,
Mapa.
you are. I saw you on Instagram.
You do.
Don't try to shit a shitter.
I do that.
You're
for
like jumping
fun.
around.
I do
like
that for fun.
you've got.
Alec, do you do them? Do you do them? Paul's workouts?
No, I watch.
Oh, I see.
I just watch.
Do you burn calories watching?
Yeah, I burn calories watching. I drink coffee.
I drink wine with you when you do your swirls.
Yeah, I did for 6 weeks. I did an IGTV fundraiser for ACLU called Swirl, where I tasted wine. I got a case of wine every week.
Oh my God!
The wineries up north for free, and it was a really, really bad idea.
We'll have to ask Jamie about that.
Well, I would start off the show like so civilized and everything, and then by the end, I was like, "Listen to me, your problem is like you would just see me disintegrate."
On live TV. There you go.
I've never disintegrated.
And then I did I tried for the quarantine for the first month. I was just really crabby and I didn't do anything and I was depressed. And then I was like, I got to do something. I have to feel useful. Much like Paul Katami needs to learn one valuable thing every day. I feel like unless I've contributed somehow, the day's been wasted. So every Friday, I invited all of my celebrity friends to do a show called Alec Mapa Girl Friday. We raised money for nurses. We raised money for the Transgender Law Center. we helped this one kid who nearly died of a hate crime in Bakersfield. There's a trans teen named Christian Rouse who was found nearly beaten to death by his mother.
Oh
And he was hospitalized for almost 2 months. And she had a GoFundMe page, and I tweeted it out to all the influencers. And then it got picked up on Twitter. It went viral, and because there wasn't any investigation, there wasn't any media coverage, and all of a sudden, after one day of tweeting, like Amy Schumer retweeted it, and she donated $15,000.
Oh my
It was
God.
crazy.
That's amazing.
So we raised $62,000 for this kid. So
Good
really,
for
really
you.
Great.
See,
Yeah.
Alec, I don't believe the stuff you were saying about Alec on the way over here. He's much nicer.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
I said
Nice.
that. I just was saying that he's
Nice.
trying to find more balance, and that
Oh, okay.
Can I tell your listeners how you attacked me at a Christmas party?
Actually, that
How
was
both of you
I did not
accosted
attack
me?
you. I did not accost
Yes,
you.
you did. Yes,
I
you
was
did.
squeezing your buns. Jeffrey was accosting you. That's how it was.
a gay on gay hate crime.
Really? Would you like to explain?
we were at a Christmas party.
Oh my God.
viewers, listeners.
Here we go.
Friend
Here we go.
of a mutual friend, and Jeff came up to me and said, "Hey, do you like to be peed on? You look like you like to be peed on." And then Paul came around and said, "Yeah, he does. And then they gathered everybody around, a group of people surrounding me, saying, "Doesn't Alec look like he wants to be peed on?" And I was like, "You got me."
This was a decade ago. He will never forget this.
No, but
It's the defining moment of our relationship.
it really is, because every single time, if you see any interaction on social media, or you'll see P end up in there. P-E-E,
Yeah.
and
So
it's-
if you see that message from me, it's our secret message to each other, not so secret anymore.
No longer a secret.
Because of that, when Kamala gets into the White House,
Yes.
I want to ride your coattails to a Christmas party, to an Easter egg roll, anything.
Oh, we're going to be having frequent flyer miles to
Definitely.
to Washington.
Are you still in
DC.
touch with her?
Not to the degree that we
She was
would
a
like
part
to
of
be.
your
but
historic moment. I
Yes, she
remember in
was.
the
She is.
documentary.
And
She's certainly using that clip in her campaign.
She is.
She's tweeted out that clip
Yeah.
of her
Okay.
making the phone call from San Francisco to the.
So
to
tweet
the,
her back and say, "Hit a bitch up. We want
That's
to come to the
right.
White House." When
Well,
you start
yeah.
getting that invitation in now.
That's
Yes.
exactly what we're doing. We have friends that are around her, and a friend
Uh-huh.
that used to work for her, and we actually had Richard Greer on the show.
Reggie
Reggie Greer. Did I say Richard?
You were going to say Richard Gere.
Richard Gere.
No, we did not
We
have
have
Richard Gere.
Gere's
Although
gerbil on the
Jeffrey,
And,
Jeffrey would
yeah,
love.
a lot
He's
to
got
say.
he's got a tell
First
all
of he
coming
said
out.
The story's true.
What his coming out story? Badunk dunk.
Oh God!
Anyway,
Yeah, we had Reggie Greer on the
Reggie
show.
Greer on the show, who's Biden's LGBTQ plus vote director, and
Shut up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's pretty cool. I mean, it's really nice to see that that's happening in the world. But back to your celebrities and Girl Fridays, because you had
Yes.
some really amazing people on your show. Like,
yeah, it's like
amazing people.
It's like I had blackmail or something. It was like I was Trump and they were Lindsey Graham. Like I had
Ladybug Graham.
oh, gross.
Ladybug. That turned out to be a false story. The ladybugs.
Oh,
and I was
no.
like,
How do you
I
know?
don't
Did you
care.
check?
It's
Because
so funny.
because the guy who tweeted it said this was just a joke. So yeah, but I still believe it. But you know what? It's kind of like I don't know what Trump has on him for him to turn around so drastically because he used to trash talk him. So the KGB has something on him, but it has to be something really horrendous.
Yeah,
So I
because
was
it
like,
can't
what
be
would
that
he-
he's closeted, because we all know.
Yeah, who cares? Like if that's it, then big deal. But it has to be something so awful.
I agree.
So
I
I'm
agree.
thinking it involves poop or kids
Poop for kids.
or both. Or both.
Oh wow, poopy kids.
Yeah, that's where I went.
Alec,
Yes?
what were your thoughts on the DNC this last week?
On the
What-
DNC, I kind of agreed with AOC that it wasn't as you're not going to get everything you want,
Right.
But the messaging was on point. Is that we have to end this, and it's up to us to end this. This is where we can't sit this one out. And when you look at the number of people who did not vote in the last election, that it's become more imperative than ever. You can see my son's picture in the background. Isn't he handsome?
It's so great. We're going to ask you about Zion as well. That's
But
coming
it's kind of like the difference is now we know it's at stake. We've had 4 years of this, and it started immediately. I remember I was getting off a gay cruise in January of 2017, and I was working on the Atlantis booze cruise in January, and there was an Iranian doctor who could not get off the ship. He was being detained, and he had to go through a whole kind of legal rigmarole to stay in the country because he would have been killed had he gone back to Iran.
Wow.
You know, and it was just kind of like, and then I got off the plane in Los Angeles, and there were people already protesting the travel ban. So it's like, we've had 4 years of this. We've had 4 years of the experience. We've had 4 years of him lying, which is why a lot of the same tactics aren't working anymore. Like they were novelties 4 years ago, but for him to do name calling this time with Sleepy Joe or Phony Kamala, like it's not sticking this time.
Right. Well, because it worked once, and it's kind of a fool me once situation for some people. Not all, a bit, but at least some, and that's what we'll take. We'll take some because we need some of those voters for sure. We need to.
Somebody on Twitter this morning said, if you put the word "mommy" before every one of his tweets, it kind of makes more sense.
Oh my God, that's kind of
mommy,
brilliant.
This is a witch hunt. Mommy,
oh,
I don't trust Sleepy Joe. Mommy,
that is amazing.
Yeah, Mommy Kamala is the meanest.
Yeah, right. Seriously,
that was the most infantile tweet to me. That she was the nastiest and meanest. She's mean.
He reserves that word mean and nasty for like women that he's afraid of.
Yeah, but have you seen like the old YouTube footage of her prosecuting white men? It's like candy. It's like cotton candy to me.
Oh no, I haven't. I'll have to look that up.
Go Google her on YouTube prosecuting Kavanaugh, Jeff Sessions, and Bill Barr.
I saw the Kavanaugh stuff.
You see them get so flustered, and they're like she asked Kavanaugh, did you talk to anybody about the Mueller investigation with anyone at the law firm representing Trump? This is a yes or no question. And he was like, can you give me a name? That wasn't the question.
Did I talk to
This
anyone?
Is a yes or yeah. Did I talk to anyone? Like they're so on the spot, and they all look like 11-year-olds trying to lie about who broke the it's ridiculous.
My favorite line to her, I think it was to Kavanaugh, where she says, "Can you tell me of any law that governs how a man's
body,
how a man treats his body?" And he was like,
"I
like beer."
Everybody, what do you think the percentage is of Americans that really give a shit about politics the way we do?
Not a lot.
It's so small.
Not a lot.
It's infinitesimal. And these people who are really paying attention at this point. I mean, I think the three of us have been, we've been so looped in for years now.
Because it affects us.
It does.
Because who in the White House, who's there, who are our leaders, directly affects us. And like 4 years ago, my husband was at the post office, and there was these two women working at the post office. She goes, "Are you going to vote?" And he goes, "Nah, I'm not going to vote. I'm not really interested." And they're like, "I think Trump's funny." But he kind of cracks me up. Like they were talking about it like it was a TV show that they didn't have to participate in democracy. And now this has directly affected them, the women at the post office. And it's kind of like, there was this comic who said, I'm not into politics. I'm not a woman. I'm not gay. I'm not black. I don't breathe oxygen. I don't care about the environment. Climate change doesn't affect me. I don't pay taxes. It's like, everything affects you.
And COVID.
And what about the log cabin Republicans? I mean, like,
I can't believe they're still around. It's like, you have no credibility.
I mean, I have someone that I have known in the business who is an open Trump supporter and openly gay, and is getting dragged through social media right now for posting happy birthday to Trump, his birthday happened to be on the anniversary of the Pulse massacre, and it was so tone deaf and so awful. Like, happy birthday Trump. Birthdays matter, or birthday lives matter, something like that.
Is he rich and white?
I don't know about the rich part. I think there's. I'll make assumptions, but I think that there's not an issue. Not an issue with no Asian.
Oh wow! Yeah, it's me. I confess, you guys. I'm
and
really sorry
he has
about
a show
that.
on Friday. girl, a new show on TV. No, so
Asian, that's bullshit. That's
I agree.
terrible.
it's
I
terrible,
agree.
right? Terrible. And apparently, like, power to the people Asian who is like, we need more diversity, inclusivity. I'm like, actually, you need a little more education on the situation that's going on in our, country right now in this administration
Yeah.
because, like, yeah.
Read a book. What kind of Asian? Chinese, Japanese, Korean?
I think he's Chinese. Yes, I can do some searching and I'll get back to you after
All
the
right.
show.
Well,
But
who
anyways,
cares?
But the point is-
Whatever.
the
Making
point
me
is-
hungry.
It really doesn't matter what I want to dox this person. I mean, the nerve to kind of just like put that on your social media when you're as a queer person is just kind of like,
Yeah, he tweeted it, and
it's
then
like,
he.
what?
Yeah.
You're a gay Republican. What do you beat the shit out of yourself in a parking lot? I mean,
That's exactly right. That's why I thought. I was like, and the funny thing is, we had seen him a few months prior, right before the COVID shutdowns happened. And he's super, super sweet guy. Like, it's nothing, like, I don't want to say he's a bad person. I just think he's maybe misguided or misaligned in
Right.
life a little bit. And then I honestly believe that, Alec. I also believe, like at some point you got to strip away party line when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, people like me are being attacked. People like me are being completely resegregated
but even if
under
people
this administration.
aren't like you are being attacked, do you know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like the whole Black Lives Matter national outcry and national kind of wokeness that has happened has proven that you don't have to be black to know that Black Lives Matter. You don't have to watch a snuff film of George Floyd being killed right in front of you to know that this is wrong. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind
Absolutely.
of done with the whole idea of, it affects other people. It's like everything that affects everybody affects you. I mean, it's kind of like, and what there's been like a fast forward lesson in this with Black Lives Matter and the thing with the cops is if it's okay for them to do that to Black people, it's only 2 seconds before it happens to you.
Exactly.
And we saw that with the old man in upstate New York who was knocked down and there was blood coming out of his ear. We saw with that Army vet in Oregon that they were beating and tear gassing. We saw that with all the, it's terrible that they're being injured, but it's so exciting. I'm so excited about the young white people who are out there kind of putting this whole new generation of kids who are putting their asses on the line.
And that's what really felt different about this summer and this protest. And after it felt like George Floyd's murder was a turning point. And instead of protests that seemingly when an African American had been killed by the police, like in Ferguson or something, you saw people that looked like George Floyd out there. But what was so great about this was like exactly what you just alluded to. There was white people, there was Asian people, there were gay people, straight people, different religions. Everybody cared because they knew if it could, in this current state that we live in right now, anybody could be on the side of their car with a police officer's knee on their neck with this administration because Donald Trump is sending troops against his own people. I mean, any of these things can happen. We need to support. None of us is free until all of us is free.
Well, I have a message for your Asian friend who's posting all the Trump stuff. It's like this stuff directs you immediately. This presidency is harmful to you. To you.
Absolutely.
This presidency is harmful to the kind of country you want, to the kind of character, our national character. I was in Washington, D.C. last year with my husband lobbying for the Every Child Deserves a Family Act, because in at least 12 states, it is legal for federally funded adoption agencies to discriminate against qualified couples based on sex, sexual identity, gender identity, marital status, or religion, meaning qualified parents are being sent away by adoption agencies that have a religious, foundation. So we lobbied, we knocked on doors, we met John Lewis, we met AOC, and the bill was introduced by John Lewis right before he died.
Wow.
So it's not going to pass with this administration. It will pass when we get the House back. But
would that be part of if we eventually get the Equality Act? Would that be included?
It's an adjunct. It's not included. It's a separate bill.
Okay.
But when the Equality Act gets passed, this is the next piece of legislation that needs to go through. And also another part of the bill that was super important. We had a lot of queer youth with us who had lived through foster adoption. it also the Every Child Deserves a Family Act would also recognize the sexual orientation and gender identity of the kids in foster care, because there are a lot of queer youth in foster care that we met a trans teen whose parents starved him because they were like, this isn't real, your gender identity isn't real, and unless you stop this whole thing that I identify as male, you're not going to eat in this house.
What?
We
Jesus.
met a gay teen who had survived being sent to conversion camp. He was sent to conversion camp on an annual basis to get the gay out of him. We were it's you know, what the kids experience in foster care is awful, but what queer kids, they're even more vulnerable to abuse, which is why we need this bill. So it's that thing where the political becomes personal. You know, it's like, I have a family. I have a son who's now 15 years old. He's going on 40, and our family was oh, there he is. Look at how big. He's even taller than that now. He's even taller than that. My family was made possible because we lived in California, where, according to the foster adoption agencies, my husband and I, a double income, no kids, were a desirable placement.
Yeah, of course. And how is Ian doing, by the way? Is he good?
He's 15, so
oh
I see
my
him at breakfast and
God,
dinner.
he's 15 already.
Now is he all the school's online now? Has that started yet?
Yeah, he started online. He does great virtual learning. I mean, I think he's going to be a virtual learner for the rest of his life. He got a B plus. Would you get a B plus in algebra in summer school? Last Tuesday he came in because I finished all my math homework for the week. So he's kind of like, he lives in the room. I hardly ever see him because he's 15. Because when you're 15, you don't want to hang out with your parents.
Right.
Did you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So he hangs out with his friends all day. He's playing games and doing whatever 15-year-olds do.
Right.
And
I never did that. I never did that.
They make friendship bracelets.
What are you doing in there? I'm making a friendship bracelet.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys and my family are living examples of how this affects us personally on a very tangible meta level. Your lives are made possible today because of legislation that protects you.
Correct.
Exactly.
The statuses that you have as a married couple now, the statuses that how many years has it been for you guys, by the way?
We've the ruling was in 13, so we've been married for 7 years, but March we'll be together for 20.
20 years together.
20?
Almost 20, yeah.
Jesus.
We met.
I want to see pictures of you guys from 20 years ago.
Oh my God.
Well,
I
I
wanna see
was
what that looked
7,
like.
so they're baby pictures, just FYI.
Yeah. Jamie and I have been together for 18 years.
Yes,
Nice.
I love it. It's amazing. I know, I know. I have made that face so many times, and this is the first time I've seen you make it, and I understand exactly what you mean. I can read right behind your eyes. Yes,
that's really
We
nice.
do this
Both of
thing
you.
now as married people, like I get super mad at him, or he'll get super mad at me, and then it's over a minute later. Like I will get like super pissed about it, like a boundary's been crossed, or I'm annoyed by something, and then it's over 2 minutes later, and then I'm like, I'm sorry.
Well, how
that happens. I mean, it's funny because well, okay, so Jeff isn't in 2 minutes. Jeff's more like 27 minutes.
You hold a grudge for 27 minutes?
Yeah, I'm a little more of a grudge holder than you, obviously. Yes.
I mean, come
Do
on.
you pout? Do you get the silent treatment? What does that look like?
Oh, I don't. Well, here's the thing. I mean, Jeff sometimes will be like, "Can you just be quiet? Can you just shut up or whatever?" And then I'll shut up for like a day. Like I won't say anything for like 20 hours.
That's not true.
I have
That's
done
not
that.
true.
I have totally done that.
Jamie has said to me, "I need you to stop talking right now."
Ah, okay. Similar.
I don't think I say shut up.
He'll say, no, he'll say, I'm too mad to argue about this right now. Let's not talk.
That's more sophisticated than shut the F up. Like
I don't say shut the F up.
I did it on purpose to pick a. He never. Jeff has never said STFU to me. He has never said that, and we don't. No.
My son's been in therapy since he came to us when he was 5, and he has an adult therapist now, and he says things like, "I can't talk about this right now. You're gonna have to give me a moment."
Yeah, which is smart because you want to go away and have some clarity coming back.
Yeah,
And I guess,
yeah.
listen,
And
I
you
mean,
just
I
don't want
get
to have
it.
the argument
Yeah.
while you're mad.
And after 19 years, we joke about it. Like we keep saying, well, after 19 years, I think I know. After 19 years, I think I know. Whatever. And it's true. We don't. We have a rule. We have a rule. The rule is don't go to bed angry. So if it takes 27 minutes or 2 hours, it's true. And
It's 4 in the morning. Can I please go to
literally,
sleep?
honestly, there has been some nights where I'm like, I get into bed and I'm like, okay, I got to get up at whatever time, crack of ass in the morning to go to work. And Jeff will come sit on the edge of the bed and I'll be like, is everything okay? He's like, well, 17 hours ago.
Oh, he's such a bullshit. He's so.
No, but
you are lying.
Kurt's only laughing about it. Okay, maybe it's 15 hours ago, but it's still like something throughout the day, and I will ask throughout the day.
5 years ago,
Yeah, exactly.
you
Yeah.
said something to me.
It's still tonight, right?
Alec, how has COVID and being quarantined affected you and Jamie? Like as far
I
as like
love
being
it.
in the house all the.
He's working at home. He's in post-production for a production house called Pilgrim House, and they produce the Wicked Tuna shows for Nat Geo. And so he's doing all the producing stuff from home. He's the assistant producer on several of the shows and programs. And I've been writing and I've been doing my fundraising on IGTV. So, and I'm a Cancer. I love being home. So for me, it's been like, I don't have to be anywhere. Auditions are all happening online, which is great. I don't have to drive anywhere. I can rehearse. I can, I think it's good. It's made me even more creative.
Wow,
I
that's
think,
good.
but it's made me more. I mean, I wasn't joking about like I feel like I need to be of service. I need to feel like I'm helping, and that is the thing that cheered me up. Is when I started kind of going, all right, what can I do? How can I help? And when I started feeding nurses and raising money for nurses in New York City, my friends of mine had started this organization where they would just bring nurses food at dinner time because they couldn't bring in their own lunch boxes from home because that risked further infection. And if nobody brought them food, they had to eat hospital food. And you know how terrific that is. So we were buying them Chipotle and stuff. And we were also going to restaurants in New York that were struggling. So we were helping the restaurants and the nurses at the same time. So every weekend we were feeding like 400 nurses. So
Wow.
I think that's really the thing about, and what I want people to know politically. I read someplace that when you are of service, it gives off the same chemicals in your body. Your brain releases the same chemicals as sex and chocolate.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, well, I'm gonna prioritize
so for purely
sex and
selfish
chocolate
reasons,
first, right.
if you help somebody.
But
it really changed my chemistry. Like I cheered up.
That's
like
amazing.
I went from being like, this sucks, life sucks, meh, to like, oh, what can I do? How can I help?
Well, that's the key of purpose, right? It gives you purpose. And that's the thing is like, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. We had some guests on the show and we asked them what their secret was. It was Jack Baker and Mike McConnell, who were the original gay marriage plaintiffs in 1971.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's what, you didn't listen to that episode? Jeez.
Thanks, Alec.
Whatever.
I was
Anyways.
busy getting peed on, you guys.
Oh, see, so Jeff was right all these years.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I asked them like, here we are talking about your activism and your, indefatigable kind of efforts that you're putting into the world for, freedom and equality. And I said, what's the secret? And honestly, and it aligns completely with my heart in the moment, Mike McConnell said, have purpose and have love. And I was like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful.
So simple,
but
meaningful.
But that's exactly right. You're putting your purpose that's fueled by like love and wanting to give and be of service
and connection. And you want to
to
think that, maybe when I need help, there would be kind people out there.
see.
Or, when maybe when it's my turn in the foxhole and,
Right.
Things aren't going well, maybe people would reach out, maybe complete strangers would reach out to me. But the point is, it's kind of like I started doing it and there was a chemical change. I felt better about everything. And I woke up and like you said, I had amazing people on. I was on the phone all day, Instagramming all day, Billy Porter, Michelle Visage, Kathy Griffin, Molly
Right.
Shannon, and everybody said, yes, yes, I want to help. And I thought that was great.
That's really cool.
And I'm such a star fucker, that makes me look like a bad spot on Instagram.
Well,
I just think that people have found creative ways during this quarantine to do exactly what you're doing. Like, make these days meaningful, make them have purpose, and help
Right.
someone. And you're helping someone from your living room. and raising
yeah.
money, and I think that's incredible. So
It's
good on the
amazing.
wall.
And also during this time, I started a new podcast with Stage 29 Productions called Alec Mapa, Hot Mess, with Matthew Dempsey, psychotherapist. And you can find it on Spotify, iTunes. Just look up Alec Mapa, Hot Mess. And that show is about
what's
it's
that going to
about
look
mental
like
health.
though? Can I look at the images of Alec Mapa Hot Mess?
Yeah, Hot Mess. I'm with Matt Dempsey, who's a psychotherapist, and we talk about just and the hard work of mental health, which is a hot mess. If you want to get better, I think the wellness thing is misrepresented. They think that if you take a lavender bath or buy something from Goop, everything's going to be fine. But looking at the stuff you need to change in order to get better involves a lot of shame. And there we are. Look how handsome he is.
Matthew Dempsey.
handsome.
I realized that I've been following him forever on Instagram. And when you said you were doing the show with him,
he's a wonderful therapist.
So sexy.
Well, Paul had said that you were seeing a psychiatrist. I said, well, it's about time. It's that old Golden Girls line when Rose was dating the psychiatrist and Blanche says, "Oh, you're seeing a psychiatrist," and Sophia just happened to walk in.
Great guests. We've had Sandra Bernhardt. We've had Dominique Jackson from Pose. We had Cola Scola from At Home with Amy Sedaris. We had Karamo Brown from Queer Eye. I mean, we're having great guests who are talking about really personal stuff because everybody's struggling with their own mental health right now because certainty has been taken off the table. Have you been listening? There was a Michelle Obama podcast where she said, all of our plans are in pencil.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah.
Everything's in pencil. So how do you stay steady when all your uncertainty is taken away? When all of your things that you count on for things to be.
She's amazing.
She really is. Michelle Obama.
I had a dream about her where I was doing a gig in Washington,
D.C.
and what's funny?
She peed on you?
I said she peed on you.
She peed on me. I'll get to that part. But first, I was at a gig. I was doing a gig in DC, and I was invited to the White House after the gig, and it was late night. And I went into the White House, and there was an after party at the White House. And there were still a bunch of people there, but it was like all like Queen Latifah and Mary J. Blige. And Michelle saw me and hugged me, and she said, "Oh, we made a special cocktail tonight. There's still some left over." And she followed me. She took me to the bar and poured it for me, and I just hung out with her and Barack. And I woke up, and I was like, I want that to be my life.
Yeah, I want to go back to sleep. Go back to sleep.
I want like, don't you I want to hang out with them. Like when came on when they both came on the DNC virtual convention this week, I was like, oh, Mom and Dad are back.
Oh, it felt so good to
they're back.
Hear her.
They're talking sense, and they hit a nerve because the response from Trump was all in caps.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I love that that he was listening to the whole thing.
He totally is.
Yeah.
He's so narcissistic that he needs to know what everything's saying.
Mommy.
Exactly. Mommy.
When she said it
so
is what it is, and I was like,
Oh,
oh girl, you go.
The shade.
Love it.
And also, that he's had 4 years. He's had more than enough time to prove. And the thing is, like we were talking about that earlier, what they both said was true, is that he should have grown into the office.
Right.
And I feel like the presidency was his one big, for somebody who's as narcissistic as he is, COVID was his last opportunity to be a hero.
Yep.
He could have turned everything around. If he had aligned himself with Cuomo and said, you guys, this is real. The buck stops here. Let's, get together as a nation and take this seriously, and had a unified message and gave everybody the thing we needed and gave the instructions to flatten the curve and told all his goons to just take this seriously, he could have been a huge hero.
He would have been reelected in a land. He would have been reelected, no problem.
Every natural disaster has been an opportunity for him to be a hero. Black Lives Matter was an opportunity for him to bring everybody together, and he's just not capable of it.
Yeah, he just and then listening to those tapes of his sister. I don't know if you saw that, came out on the news this morning.
Yeah. Was it this morning? Is there new stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. The niece that wrote the book.
Yeah.
Secretly recorded.
Hey,
Mary. She secretly recorded conversations with Donald Trump's sister, the judge, and he's got a close relationship with her. And she is talking about how cruel he is, and he's
shade.
crazy. He's just
The-
crazy.
The judge
The
sister.
judge is saying
the
this.
shade.
Yeah, you have to
The
see. It was on.
shade.
I haven't heard it. Why is this just coming out now? Is this a recent conversation?
She released because
Yeah.
yesterday the niece released the tapes to the Washington Post. She gave 15 hours of secretly recorded conversations with his
Trump's
sister.
had a recorded conversation with Jamie's nodding. He
Yeah,
knows. I'm
it
the
was on.
last to know.
George Stephanopoulos did a little piece of it, and he played some of it today on This Week, his morning show. But it's all over. You'll be able
Yeah,
to see it
as
if you
soon as
Google
I
it.
love George Snuffleupagus. He's so cute.
I struggled to say the name a little bit, but
Yeah, and I love his
Stephanopoulos.
wife. I worked with his wife, and she was
Allie?
hysterical. Allie.
COVID Allie?
Really, really filthy sense of humor. Like you should have her on the show. She's fucking fabulous.
Okay.
Do you know who she is, Paul? She
Yeah.
did that Seinfeld episode too.
She
with him.
she used to be I don't know if she still acts. She was an actress. She's been in a bunch of stuff. She was in It's Complicated with Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin. She's hilarious.
All right,
She's
hook
really,
us
really
up.
funny.
She's the Schmoopy episode on Seinfeld. She played Schmoopy. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, but that
exactly.
makes me think that George behind the scenes is funny too. Like that's what I love about the Obamas. I want to be your friend.
They're cool. Like you just know that they're cool to
absolutely.
have a beer with, and actually
Have
wouldn't
you
have a beer
met
with them. You'd have a
Kamala?
shot with them. Yeah,
Have you
Kamala?
spent time with? Yeah, and
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. Rock star, poised. She's going to be
Yeah.
an amazing vice president. I can't wait.
I
I can't
felt-
wait
I
for that
felt that
debate.
way.
I can't wait for Mike Pence to pee himself. Maybe he could save it for you and pee on you, but
Yeah, that'd be great.
because on that debate
I
stage,
met AOC in DC, and that was fantastic. She was like, I said, because there was a line to meet her, and I was like, I said, if DC was Coachella, you'd be Beyonce. And she said, shut up. And she was just like, so, and we talked about the Every Child Deserves a Family Act. She goes, I know about it. I got it. I got you.
and she's beautiful. Like she's
Yeah.
stunningly beautiful.
And people tried to troll her. Like there was somebody who wrote, how are you going to feel about being a bartender again when you lose your seat? And she goes, I bartend any day of the week. I'm not classist. I don't feel people are defined by their job.
Good for her. She's so good with her
She
response.
does have fantastic snapbacks. I mean, she calls back in a beautiful way. Like, you're just like, you're sitting here like, okay, girl, get it.
She's
Get
a
it.
New Yorker. Don't mess around. Don't sleep on her.
I know, but
Yeah,
I also
yeah.
don't want her to I want her to be aligned with us winning in November.
She
'cause-
will. And the whole thing with Bernie was procedure. She was procedure. And I think that she's also there to keep everybody honest. I think that right now the whole convention was skewed towards older white people who aren't sure, who could change their mind. It was not skewed towards young voters. It was not skewed towards Latino voters. There wasn't a ton of Latino. Where was Julian Castro? Where were they had Eva Longoria, but she doesn't really hold an office. But I think that she's there to kind of bring in other people. And I think that when Joe and Kamala are in the office, she will get in line. I believe she will.
I think
because she would rather have them as an ally than a liability.
Absolutely.
That's
liability.
exactly right. But there's no too soon. Just start
It's
that.
not in her best interest not to align herself.
Exactly.
So, Alec, okay, so there's so much going on. You're doing so many things. Are you okay? So is Swirl done? Are you done with Swirl for a minute?
I'm done for Swirl. Swirl is on a hiatus.
Okay.
While my liver recovers.
Got it.
And I think we're going to come back again. But also the wineries up north are in a lot of trouble.
Yes,
Yeah.
They
I was
have
gonna-
a lot of, they're dealing with the fires right now. So
right.
out of respect for them,
Yeah.
we're going to figure it out, and then it's going to come back. Right now I have other things going on. I'm on an HBO Max series called Doom Patrol. The first season, it's a superhero show about misfit superheroes, and I play the nefarious animal, vegetable, mineral man in episode 3.
That's
Nice.
amazing. Did you potentially meet? My friend is on that show as well.
Who?
Stephanie Chakowski. She's the bald-headed woman who plays. I forget the name of her character.
I don't
Oh,
know.
I
Like-
wasn't in Stephanie's episode, but
Yeah.
we shoot in Atlanta, and it's just a great group of people. The show is Matt Bomer's on it, Diane
Yes.
Guerrero from Orange is the New Black, April Bobley, who's a genius. Brendan Fraser. Did I say Matt Bomer?
Oh my God, Brendan Fraser.
Fraser.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser. And there are all these people who've had freak accidents and they put together, there we are. They've been put back together. And I'm a wannabe superhero. And I go down to Paraguay to get there's a Nazi in an iron lung who has a machine that can give you superpowers. And I left in the machine for too long and I go crazy.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, it's really, really fun. So that's happening. And everything I've ever been on is now streaming everywhere. Ugly Betty's on Hulu. Desperate Housewives is on Hulu, I think.
Good for
Switched at
you.
Birth is on Freeform. So
No, okay, so talk to us.
So
Like,
I'm counting on those checks.
I was about to say, you get those residuals.
My sister-in-law texted me yesterday because she found out you were going to be on the show, and she loves you, and she loved you on Worst Cooks in America that you were on the Food Network.
Yeah.
Do you have who did you hate?
I loved everybody. It was the hardest I've ever worked. I really did. And I felt on the way to, I didn't want to know who was in it. And on the way to New York, I watched I, Tonya on the plane. And then when I went to the makeup trailer on the very first day, the first person I saw was Tonya Harding.
Get out.
And she was everything she was like, I'm okay. I'm like, I'm so sorry all that happened to you. And she's like, it's better than being a punchline for 25 years. Like we would, me and Jim J. Bullock would be waiting to go on. She's like, my back is killing me. This is like when my husband threw me down 3 flights of stairs.
Shut up.
Like, she's just the realest kind of like punk rock kind of, she was cool.
Did you ask Jonathan Lipnicki to see his abs? Apparently has washboard abs.
I did see them quite a bit. And
really?
Jonathan was my buddy too. Like I've stayed close with everybody on the show. Like it was the most fun I've ever had. And I just wanted to make it to the finale and I did. So, and I can cook now. I cook everything. I cook all the time.
I gotta ask Jamie that. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I want to know what you cook.
It's true, Jamie. They don't believe that I can cook. He's nodding. Did you hear that?
I did hear it. We did hear it. Yes. Yeah.
Well, what are your first plans for when you get out of this? When there's a vaccine and we can go back
I want to travel. I want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to Europe. I want to go somewhere.
I know. It's not like I go to Europe every summer, but I like to feel like I could if I wanted to.
Yeah, of course. We talk about it. Oh, we're going to go to Paris this summer. Oh, we can't because of COVID. It's interesting because that brings up another thing. It's like we're not welcome in a lot of places. So that's going to be a minute too. So American.
You know what? I remember from the Bush administration traveling and they would go, we don't hate you. We hate your president.
Yes. So hopefully if after November, if we get a vaccine and things work out, then maybe we can start to travel again. But I think traveling is good. I think it's honestly like, we've been talking to friends a lot about like what this means because it's affected so many people and it affects everyone equally but in different ways. And so it's just an interesting thing to everyone's circumstances and how that kind of becomes a conversation. And ultimately what we're talking about is like how can we just be creative? How can you just play and do things that you wouldn't normally do and maybe figure something out that becomes a new passion or a new purpose in your life. And it's been really fascinating rather than going, okay, well, we're waiting and oh, this is crappy and shit. Of course it is. It's affecting everyone differently. We get it. And it's almost strange. I found myself apologetic that I'm working so much. Like I'm super busy. Like I'm working and I feel
that's the busiest I've ever been.
Yeah, right. And I feel bad talking to some of my friends that are like, what's your week like? I'm like, dude, it's like 15 hours a day at least. I'm like working my ass off. And they're like, I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, well, I'm going to get a couple things together and try to figure out how to make some more money. And you're just like, shit, I feel like an ass saying it. And then you want to help.
But it's kind of like if you're not doing anything, that's easier to be depressed that way.
Correct.
Yeah, sure,
It's
of course.
It's easier to feel helpless.
Right.
It's easier to feel desperation. But if you're part of like, what can I do? And I'm not saying this to brag or anything. It's not a humble brag. It really is out of selfish self-interest. It feels better. It's kind of like I'm for socialized healthcare and education because it's not in my best interest to be surrounded by uneducated sick people. Do you know? And I think what people are realizing, what people aren't realizing, we're seeing the real harms of people who are thinking this has nothing to do with me. In the states where they had no lockdown measures, Texas, Arizona, Florida, where people were like, this has nothing to do with me. This is other people. Even here in California, in Orange County, Those are the places. Central California, which is very religious and very conservative, and they're like, this is a hoax. They are suffering.
Right. Well, and
You know,
and that's a great perspective to have. But we've been really lucky to be surrounded by friends or our close knit circle of friends, including our like what I say our tight circle, the tight circle of people that we actually trust.
It's tight, baby.
Tight.
That circle's tight.
The tight.
Well,
Like
it used to be.
when I say real tight, I mean like just
like,
just a tip tight. So anyway, so
like a Louisville Slugger in a trash can, like
yes,
like cotton candy machine at the county fair.
Jesus, Lord, have
like
mercy.
ringing a dinner bell.
Oh
like-
yeah, exactly.
like
that group
throwing
of
a
friends.
hot dog down a hallway.
The hot dog down the hallway. I was waiting for that one. But we're surrounded with a group of friends that are like positive and connected and creative and poetic and like yourself, like, you know, funny and doing something and actually going out there and creating a message, and that message is all about like you can sit back and wait for this to be over, or you can do something. You've got the time, do it. And by the way, all those times before COVID, you're like, I wish I had the time. I did a just episode on this. Like, I wish I had the time. I wish I had the time. I wish I could. Oh, I'd never do that, because now you have the time. Now you have the opportunity. And by the way, we have wiped away a lot of whatever stigmatizing ideas about like, oh, you know, I'm going to go into this or do artistry or pottery or whatever it might be, you know, like it's like go be creative, do your thing, like just go do it. And I feel like it's
you
like
know, it doesn't even have to be fundraising or some outlandish new project. I think every day there's an opportunity for you to help somebody in your life, in your circle. Is there somebody who's lonely? Is there somebody who's isolated? Do you have a neighbor who needs groceries? You know, it's like if you can do one thing, it's of enormous value, you know, and at the end of the day, you can kind of look at yourself in the mirror and go, I helped somebody today.
Exactly.
I made a difference. And that's what, because I need as much self-esteem to balance out the self-loathing as possible. There's a lot to compensate.
I did say
here.
you needed balance in your life.
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
there
yeah.
it is. No,
So,
I appreciate. We appreciate that. Now, so talk to us. Okay, so your new show, Hot Mess. Like, and this is perfect. It's a perfect segue. Is there like tell us something about on that show that you've had? I mean, in recent episodes, that might be something that for our listeners that's like a revelation, something fun, a funny anecdote, or something.
Yeah,
that you can share.
Wendy McClendon Covey came out and talked about how she's battled chemical depression for the last 20 years, and I have also, and how initially we were both so embarrassed about it, because I was raised to believe that therapy was for weak people and medication was for really weak people. And so for years I went without any medication at all because I was embarrassed, and I was thinking, if I medicated, that just means I'm not strong enough to take care of this on my own. So what happened for me is and Wendy too, we talked about this, that it had to get so bad for me. I think about 2 years ago, I was in the Trader Joe's and I just stopped and I just stood there in the frozen food aisle going, what's the point? And I felt like such a sense of desperation. And every day at about 4 p.m. I had to take a nap. Like I was panicky. Like if I'm not home by 4 p.m., so I got to be home. And then I finally realized this isn't normal. This isn't normal to feel this sad. It isn't normal to feel this hopeless. And so I went on medication about 2 years ago, and it turned everything around. And I thought about it retrospectively, all the years that I suffered because I thought I was embarrassed, or it wasn't in my culture to take meds. Do you know what I mean? Or
Right.
and then we have people on the show who we have Dulce Sloan, who's on the Daily Show, who talked about why it's hard for Black people to go to therapy, because culturally it's bad. She said, you know, it'd be bad for me to go to therapy because I'm not going to tell a stranger all my business. You're supposed to talk to your mother and your cousins, and so we're talking about mental health from all different angles. You know, we had Dominique Jackson on from Pose, who is saying there's an inner motor in all of us that tells us to keep going. And she goes, there was a time in the 90s in New York that I was homeless and I was a sex worker and I was broke. And I would tell my friends, I'm going to be on a billboard someday. And they were like, yeah, right. And just last year, she looked up and she was in a billboard in Times Square. So she says, there's something in you that's telling you to keep going, and you have to tune into that. And that was super inspiring. So it's a really funny show too, because I talk about all the stuff that I've been through. You know, I'm a recovering sex and love addict, which isn't as fun as it sounds. And I talk about super personal stuff. that I've kind of worked through. And I think that the more vulnerable we are, the less embarrassed everybody is around us. I always start the show by saying, I'm living proof that you can't die from embarrassment.
I love that, and thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so important because we see all. I mean, like listen, and especially these days, we put out what we want people to see, right? We put
Yeah,
out what
yeah.
we want people
Instagram
to
is all like,
see.
I'm perfect, everything's fine. And it's like, that's just a picture. And we have to remember that it's just pictures.
Right.
It's whatever narrative we choose to put out there. That's why I call the show Hot Mess, because it's kind of like, let's talk about hot mess. So for the first 10 minutes, I always talk about some humiliating, embarrassing story on myself. Like
That's
stalking
really.
exes and sitting outside the car.
Oh, actually, Jeff can actually align with that in terms of stalking and sitting
Yes,
outside your
I
car.
did. I did do that.
You did?
I did.
You did? What'd you do?
I drove by where he. God, I can't believe you're bringing this up on the air.
Love it.
I'll tell my stalking story.
We
It's
were,
embarrassing.
Paul and I were, just starting to hang out, and there was a couple times when I was expecting a phone call and didn't get one, so I drove by. I drove by his house to see if his car was
I
in
can
the
relate.
driveway.
That's something that I would do.
Mind
That
you,
was something-
these
that's something I would
stories
totally do.
these stories came out after I was like locked in. I'm like, oh, yeah, wow, if I had known that the day. that
Aren't you
did it.
flattered? Aren't you flattered that he stalked you?
Sure, flattered and slightly terrified.
Yeah. My ex, years ago, this is way back. This is when I first got to LA. Also used to date Laura Dern, and he's bisexual. Whatever.
Huh,
And
I love that.
it's not biphobic, by the way. I believe it. He was just a jerk. So
No, I love. Trust me, I'm a
yeah.
super bi fan.
So we were doing a play together, and Laura Dern came to the show. And normally we would go home together after the show, but he took Laura Dern out for dinner, and they were going to hang out. So I drove to his place in Venice, and I sat outside in my car with the lights on, waiting to see silhouettes walk by.
Oh my
and all the time I was thinking, she's in there. I know Laura Dern's in there. I know Laura Dern's in there. And all of a sudden the lights in the house turned on, and there was somebody opening a curtain to look at me. And I backed up my car so fast that I crashed. I did a little crash into the car in back of me, and I drove away.
Oh my God.
Was it Laura Dern's car?
It would have been
I hope
amazing if
so.
it was Laura Dern's
I hope
car.
it may have been Laura Dern's car, but it was in Venice, so I didn't even look at the car. I heard glass breaking, like I'd hit a headlight.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
And I drove away.
Okay,
It
did you
was just
ever?
like
Did he
not
ever?
my
say-
proudest moment.
Did he ever say, "Hey, was that you in the driveway last night?"
No,
Or no.
no,
You never knew.
no.
So if you're listening, send that bill for the repair
Yeah,
headlight
right,
to
exactly.
Alec Mappa.
If you
Alec
had
Mapa.
a headlight broken and you lived near the Venice canals,
Yes. Yes.
I'm really, really sorry.
You get like 300 requests.
Anyway, that's the kind of scintillating conversation you'll find. at
I
Alec
love
Mapa.
it.
I
I love
though.
it.
But
Okay.
see, I have the balance is the therapist is there, Matthew Dempsey, to talk me through the dysfunction of that.
That's actually fantastic, and I think especially now, what a great way to introduce the idea of mental health and
because
wellness.
I was, I was operating out of a deficit. I was operating out of low self-esteem, that I needed this guy in order to feel like a normal person.
I'm gonna start
to
listening.
the point
Yeah.
where I was obsessed and he has to be mine, and it's just not healthy.
It's not healthy, and that codependency is becoming more and more, I think, the volumized now. And people are like, when people are in relationships in this particular situation where you're
He's saying
quarantined.
that to you,
it's like,
Jeff. That's all for you,
yes.
baby.
Alex, we had
I
talked
have
about this before the
friend
show.
who's in with a really neat. I have this friend.
So my friend told me that when you're
Your
in a
friend
relationship,
told me.
but I love it because we have talked about mental health and wellness during this time, and I have used that. I have basically used my little podcast as a platform for that type of thing as well. Like, acknowledging how something feels, acknowledging something that you want to get over, and how you GYST get your shit together around it. And I share my little things. I share I take a piece of paper and I'll write down the thing that's blocking me in that day, why, and who's responsible for it in my life, and then I go attack that. I go actually
Right.
have that conversation, willing to put on the line, a friendship or something, knowing that when you're invested in friendships that will be there forever, that you can have those conversations, so you can let go of some of the crap that holds you back, like you mentioned some of the stuff that's not healthy.
It's about
for
being
you.
vulnerable. I mean, you
Absolutely.
guys have been in this relationship for 20 years, And that's the most vulnerable you'll ever be. I
Yeah.
mean, most people go into marriages think it's, it's a romance novel, and it's not. Marriage brings up the absolute worst in all of us. All of our stuff comes up in a marriage, all of your issues. And it's kind of like, are you going to go through this with me or somebody else?
That's exactly right. That's
It's
exactly
like,
right.
you could break up with me. That's not going to save you from this.
You know what?
It's like
that
you're
is
going to go through
brilliant.
this with somebody
You
else.
might as well just go.
Talked about today, forget giving service, forget having purpose. No, it's all about, like, if you break up with me, you're gonna have just to deal with this with somebody else. So just FYI, like,
But
you might as well
isn't
just
that
like
true?
it's
It
true.
is.
No, you're
It's
absolutely
like-
right.
That's
Yeah.
revelatory.
But people think, oh, it'll get better if. But the thing
If
is,
I'm with another person,
right?
If
And
the
the thing,
external circumstances change, it's
exactly, exactly. And we've talked about this. We're like, we have to grow as individuals, which is going to put stress fractures on our relationship. It's part of the process. If you don't allow the stress fractures because you're growing as an individual, you are not letting yourself grow as an individual, and then resentment sets in, then anger sets in, then you're fighting and taking it out on each other in a way that's demeaning and devaluing your relationship.
Yeah.
Because, and I told Jeff the same thing. Like, we're changing, and sometimes you use "you are changing" as the ammunition. You weaponize that. I'm like, yeah, I want to change.
Yeah.
I need to change over
It's
time.
natural to change.
Absolutely.
It's natural to change. And we hate it because it's hard, because then you have to rethink everything. But it's like, you weren't the same person you were 5 years ago.
Hell
You weren't the same person you
no.
were last year.
Exactly.
And that's
I'm
true
not the
for
same person I was
everybody. And
last
think that
night.
what I think what people don't get about relationships, and you two are great people to share your experiences, is that it is about change, and it is about being vulnerable, and it's a hot mess, which you can download and subscribe on Apple Tunes,
Yes,
iCast, Spotify, or iTunes.
Well, I think
But,
Paul's also.
yeah.
Well, you're also going through the change, Paul. So it's also not.
That's the change. That's what I call
Hey.
that's what I call the Facebook change from interrelationship to single. So that's what I'm calling that. Just FYI.
Wait, how old are you guys?
What?
I'm 20 years older than you guys.
You are not.
How old are you? Yeah, I am.
I'm
How old are you guys?
46.
I'm 47.
Okay, so did you go through any kind of midlife crisis type of thing? all?
I think that it possibly.
I think so.
Yes, possibly.
I think so.
I mean, I don't know. I don't even think
That was a
about
big deal
age.
for us, because I'm 12 years older than my husband. So when I went through it, he was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you crazy?" And then he went through it a couple years ago, and
Yeah.
I was kind of like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" But I was able to sit back and just eat a bowl of popcorn and watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
I
have to
think
talk about
for
that.
me it was like 43, like 42, 43, right around there. I had a little bit of a.
Mine was
Anyway.
43 also.
I don't know if I
I
can
love
identify.
bananas.
Maybe you can help me. 'cause
All of a
I
sudden,
don't-
we're on Hot Mess with Alec Mapa.
Exactly. I would love to be on Hot Mess with Al.
No,
Actually,
I'd love to have you guys on, because it's kind of like talking about the hot mess of a relationship.
Yeah, sure.
And how much work it is.
Then have
it's
us
kinda
on.
Like,
I mean, I
I-
don't know if we qualify as celebrities. I mean, you guys have celebrities on your show, but
no, you guys
but,
you're history makers. You will go down in the annals of history, the annals of history.
I love going down
I
on the.
knew he
annals
was
of
going
history.
there.
as the couple. I mean, I'm telling you, I've seen the Prop 8 documentary so many times, and at the last minute, my heart is always in my mouth. Do you know what I mean? And I know how it turns out. And you guys, they couldn't have vetted a nicer couple. It couldn't have been me, because with my past, it was like, no, don't give that.
Oh,
piece of
that's
trash
very
I
sweet.
think it
of
could have been
Alec.
better.
But you
with
guys
you.
like, so there was no dirt on you.
You should see the director's cut.
There was
really?
there was no dirt on us, but since then, yeah. Anyways,
Since then,
since then, yeah,
So,
we've
but
changed.
it's like, it's. What was I talking about? I don't know.
We're talking.
You were talking about the
like,
annals of
the
history.
Annals of history. Going
Oh
down
no,
on
you
the
guys are
annals of history.
you guys are famous to me. You guys are celebrities to me, and you're important people to me. And to me, it's not always about celebrity. It's about people that matter. People who are doing great things, and you certainly both qualify as that.
Oh,
You're
thank
so
you,
sweet.
Alec.
Well, if Matt will have,
We,
I mean, we're happy to have.
we owe a debt of gratitude. I owe a debt of gratitude to you for you guys putting yourselves on the line and putting yourselves through the ringer.
No, you're sweet.
In terms of that case goes, because that could not have been fun.
I think Jamie
No.
curses us out every day because we won. So now he's like, I had to marry Alec.
See what
Also,
I-
your wedding was pretty fancy.
Yes.
Your wedding was,
That was fun.
Cheyenne Jackson decided not to go because he found out he had to sit next to me. But
That's right.
who was
He
there?
did cancel the day
he
of,
canceled
right?
because he hurt his back.
Yeah.
He hurt his back.
Jamie Lee Curtis was there.
Okay,
Jamie
enough
Lee
about
Curtis.
I think. Anyway, so and you and
So
Alec, you were
cool.
there.
Yeah.
Alec introduced
me,
us.
and me.
Alec
Yeah.
introduced the whole evening. Alec, this is we could go on and on and on and on. And
Oh my
on,
God, are
but,
we done? Oh,
yeah,
we are
I know
done,
it's
yeah.
it's time,
Oh,
and which
Jesus.
makes me
Yakety yak.
No, I love it because this is the type of conversation we need to be having more of, and we miss you. And this was a great
missed you
way to
too.
connect, publicly.
I've got.
in the
I
world.
just drank this. I got a full bladder.
Oh my God!
Oh
As
my
he's
God!
shaking
Okay,
his
go
water.
pee.
and
But
taking-
everybody listening, a hot mess. Alec Mapa hot mess on Apple Podcasts, iTunes Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe and download. And it's a way of talking about mental health. It's a way of having therapy if you're too afraid to go to a therapist. I said we solve one hot mess after a time beginning at a time beginning with me. We solve all the mental
I
problems
am
by dealing with mine.
subscribed.
I am subscribing too.
Look, I am totally subscribed. It's on my
Wonderful.
phone right here, right now. And I
Wonderful.
would love. I mean, listen, if we qualify, this would be actually sounds like a
No,
fun
I'd
thing
love
for
to
us
have
to
you
do.
guys on.
Alec, so today we learned. Thank you so much for one sharing and getting us updated on everything you're doing. Two, thank you for the message of how giving back, just a little bit of service made you feel better, and through
Yeah,
that giving
yeah.
purpose and then
It's
the show.
science. It sets off positive chemicals in your brain.
I love it. It's so great. So above
Not to
and-
mention your lobbying work for
Yes, yes.
the youth of America, so that they can
Oh
be
yeah.
adopted and fostered without discrimination. Kudos to you and your husband for doing that
What's
with the
cool-
great job.
If you want to find out more about that, you can go to familyequality.org or .com. Look
Yes,
up Family
Family
Equality.
Equality. It's the
You can
Family
find out
Equality.
yeah.
Yes, there we can post it as well because there we know some
Terrific.
people there as well. But Alec, this is what you've exemplified today is not only like just how much we love you and how great you are, but how lucky we are to have friends like you in our lives. That actually, no, it's true because you do. You remind us. It's just these little reminders and connections that make all the difference in the world. So the point is go out and find that circle of friends and be with that circle of friends that always wants to lift you up. Those are the friends that are going to keep that motor in you alive as you move through life.
Keep you honest.
Yes.
I smell like both of your pee right now.
Hey, if we're being vulnerable,
Well, give our best to Jamie again, and
Yeah.
good luck for Zion on the online school this year. But it certainly sounds like he doesn't need the luck because he's smarter than you.
Yeah,
So
he's smart as hell. It's ridiculous. I love you guys.
I love
All
you
right,
too.
bye, Alec. Thank
Bye.
See you
you.
soon. Bye.
I love him. He's so fantastic. What a great. We went over. Oh my God! Sorry, Kurt. The show has gone over. So, oh my God! You guys all see that?
Well,
I
wrap
need
it
that.
up. I don't
video
want to
clip.
get in trouble.
I know. I need that clip of Jeff like wrapping me up. Kurt, I need it. I need
Tony
it.
wants us out on time.
Oh my God! Hilarious. Okay, everyone. That's welcome to my life. Hurry up. Anyways, y'all, thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much to our special guest, Alec Mapa. If you take anything away, take away that note that he said about that motor inside you that keeps you going. Always listen to that. It will make you follow your heart. Thank you. We'll see you next time.